I had never been a fan of online dating. The idea of meeting strangers through an app always felt a bit off. But after moving to a new city, I figured it was worth a shot. Everyone was doing it, and I was tired of spending nights alone. After a few weeks of mindless swiping, I matched with someone who stood out. Her name was Claire. Claire was beautiful, with an easy smile and eyes that seemed to see right through the screen. Her messages were witty, and our conversation flowed effortlessly. We had a lot in common, from our love of old horror movies to our fascination with urban legends. There was something about her that felt so real, so authentic. We quickly decided to meet up. The day of our date, she suggested a place I hadn't heard of before. A little bar on the outskirts of town. It was a bit out of the way, but her enthusiasm was contagious. "Quiet, a great place to talk," she had said. When I arrived, the bar was just as she described. Small, almost hidden, with an old-fashioned charm. The kind of place that seemed frozen in time. The dim lighting and vintage decor gave it an eerie, nostalgic vibe, but I brushed off the unease. I was just nervous, I told myself. I waited at the bar, scanning the room for any sign of Claire. Time passed, and she still hadn't shown up. I checked my phone, no messages. I texted her, but there was no response. I started to worry, thinking she might have bailed on me. Just as I was about to leave, the bartender, an older man with a solemn expression, approached me. "You here for someone?" he asked, his voice gruff but not unkind. "Yeah, I'm supposed to meet someone." "Claire," I replied, feeling awkward. The bartender's face darkened, and he looked at me with something close to pity. "Son, you need to leave." His words took me by surprise. "What do you mean?" "Claire, she's not coming," he said, glancing around as if he was afraid someone might overhear. Felt a cold dread creep up my spine. Did she cancel? Did something happen to her? The bartender sighed deeply and leaned in closer. "Listen, this is going to sound crazy, but you need to hear me out. Claire, she's been dead for over a year." I blinked, thinking I must have misheard him. "What are you talking about? I've been talking to her all week." He shook his head slowly. "You're not the first one to come here looking for her. She died in a car accident not far from here. This was her favorite place. She used to come here every week, but now, she doesn't rest." My heart raced, and I felt a wave of nausea. This had to be some kind of sick joke. "That's impossible. I've seen her pictures, we've texted, we even talked on the phone." The bartender looked at me with sad eyes. "I've heard this before. She reaches out to people through that app, draws them here. They say she looks just like her old self, but when you try to meet her in person, well, she never shows. But if you stay too long, you might start seeing things, hearing things. People say the bar isn't the same once you've been marked by her." I didn't know whether to laugh or run. Every instinct told me to get out, but my legs felt rooted to the spot. "This is insane. How do you know all this?" "I was her friend," bartender said softly. "I've seen it happen too many times. The longer you stay, the more she attaches. You need to leave now before it's too late." I didn't need to be told twice. I grabbed my coat and headed for the door, my hands shaking. As I reached for the handle, I felt a cold breeze brush past me, and I swear I heard a whisper. My name, spoken softly, almost tenderly. I bolted out of the bar, not daring to look back. I jumped into my car, heart pounding, and sped off into the night. As I drove, I glanced at my phone, my hands trembling. There was a new message from Claire. "Why did you leave?" I dropped the phone, my blood turning to ice. I never responded. I deleted the app and tried to forget, but the nightmares haven't stopped. Sometimes, in the dead of night, I hear my phone buzz with a notification, and I know it's her. And feel her presence just outside my window, waiting. And now, every time I pass by a mirror, I catch a glimpse of her. A shadowy figure with that same easy smile, eyes that see right through me, reminding me that I was marked, that I had become a part of her story, whether I wanted to or not. And if you're hearing this, if you're considering a swipe right tonight, Remember, not everyone you meet online is alive. Some connections are meant to be severed.